Skype. Hey, from London. Hey, Shannon. She's joining. One of our speakers. Awesome. So glad to have you here. We're just getting set up here. You know, it's raw and real. I am with Jennifer Zwiebel. Right, Jen?
You did it.
I did it. Isn't that a cool last name? Zwiebel. Oh, Canada. What's up? I'm sorry, guys. There's a glare and so not cool. But we are doing a live Skype right now, and I'm recording Periscope. Myself, I'm Susan Vernicek, founder of authentically.net. We are all about personal acceptance, appreciation, personal achievement. I'm waiting for everybody to join. We're going to talk about vision, and over the next 10 months, Identity Magazine is going to be interviewing and having conversations with a bunch of experts because we are setting sail in 2016 to Bermuda to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Susan Vernicek here with Skype conversation with Jennifer Zwiebel. She is founder of aplaceofjoy.com, one of our speakers for the third Identity Live conference. This year, that conference is on a cruise to Bermuda. We set sail in May, the end of May of 2016. Yeah, we are going to rock that Bermuda boat. Hopefully we don't rock it too hard. We stay on board. So we, for the next 10 months, for those of you just joining, we are going to be diving deep into monthly themes. And this month is all about vision and what of our visions, how did we start our visions, what was one step that we took to make our vision a reality. So I'm live periscoping here while I talk on Skype with Jennifer. So I guess let's just dive in. We're going to talk about vision. Jen, what?
I was going to say, I think a lot of people would love to hear what your vision was when you started this, right? You've become something huge and amazing with, well, like you said, 65,000 plus women are part of your community now. It started as an idea, you know, and I guess a really interesting question that I have is, what did that mean? Like, how did this conversation even start? And then what do you think happens? What's the shift from an idea to a vision? And what does that mean? And then we can go deeper into how do you then make the vision real? But let's start with what in the world is the vision in the first place?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm so glad that you asked me. Then we'll ask, you know, I want to hear your vision as well. But so my vision, you know, 10 years, it's almost 10 years ago, I was a graphic designer for a medical company. And, you know, we were manipulating faces in Photoshop and, you know, really doing exactly what magazines were doing. And it got to the point where I was manipulating my own face in Photoshop. And it was 40 hours a week. I was then 25 years old. So I wanted something more. I wanted a different career. I wanted a meaningful career. And, you know, I didn't even have a vision of a business. I have no business background. I never took a class. I was an art major, so it was all art classes. And so with a colleague at that time, we were discussing about media and what we were into, and we were into magazines and we were into health and wellness. So we decided, you know, oh, well, let's start our own business. Ha ha ha. So simple, right? Let's start an online magazine. And we literally looked at each other like, are we serious or is this a hobby? For those of you who have visions, you know, give us some hearts. We want to see that, you know, you've got visions and that you're following us with this Skype.
Oh, look at all those hearts.
We love the hearts. Awesome. Tap it up. Keep sending those hearts, and that way we know that you've got visions on your mind, and we're going to ask you soon to share your visions. So I'm talking about my vision right now. For those of you just joining, Susan Vernicek here with Jennifer Zwiebel, founder of A Place of Joy. And we're talking about visions and how mine started almost 10 years ago from manipulating faces in Photoshop. Especially, I was manipulating my own face. And a colleague and I wanted to set set change, make some change in the media. So we decided to create an online magazine for women that allowed them to be perfectly imperfect and embrace their flaws and all, and, you know, talk health and wellness and mental health and all that kind of good stuff. So we, you know, looked at each other like, is this going to happen? Is this going to be a hobby, or are we going to take this vision on? And so we decided to take the vision on. And what it is when you have a vision, you never know where to start. Your question is, oh my God, how do we do this? We don't know anything about business. We don't know anything. But what's the one step you think you need to take? And that's what it's all about with visions and making visions a reality, or goals or anything. It's what is that one step that you can take, or the one question to ask to get that vision moving. And that's what we did. And, you know, we were lucky that we knew some entrepreneurs, and we asked our first question, and then it kind of snowballed and went from there.
Yeah. What did you find you were hitting up any fears as the two of you, you know, sort of thought, we're playing around, like, it's fun. I used to play around with the idea of, oh, I'd love to open a restaurant. Like, in real life, no way in hell would I be opening a restaurant. But, like, it's really fun to fantasize about something.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between playing with that idea versus, wait, this is something that's really real and it's actually possible that it could happen. And then what jumped up for you when you guys, the two of you, sort of looked at each other and said, we could actually do this and take it seriously?
Yes. It's scary. It's like, wait, who do we think we are that we can make our dreams real? You know, fantasy versus vision, how to tell the difference. Great comment, Shannon. And I don't think there really is a difference between fantasy and vision. I think you need to fantasize to have vision and to build the vision and dreams, right? Like, I think you need to be a kid. You need to dream big. You need to have vision. You need to fantasize. You need to be creative. And, you know, that's what makes us all different and unique.
Right? I would say that, you know, I think it's a really interesting distinction between fantasy and vision. I think maybe one difference is that fantasy, I think, sort of stays in the realm of fantasy. And maybe you start there, but if you start taking actions, it can move from fantasy into vision. Meaning, the fantasy is a dream, like, what if? And wouldn't it be fabulous if? And imagine if, like, the whole planet decided to go get ice cream shakes together and all sing Kumbaya. Like, that's an awesome fantasy. And then that could, for some people, filter into, you know what, wait a minute. The fantasy is the whole planet. What if I started with everyone on my block or every one of my Facebook friends? I have a vision of, you know, ultimately getting to that fantasy. But for now, my vision is get every single one of my Facebook friends at the same time. I don't know why I picked this bizarre example, but to have an ice cream shake at the same time and sing Kumbaya. Like, what would that shift in the world? What could that create? And then some people would leave it there, and some people, it would just latch onto that, and it would not leave them alone. They would not forget it. They would go to sleep. They would go to their jobs and wake up and say, I want it to happen. And I think that's where that's that magic tipping point where it becomes a vision that you're willing to do the work to get to. Because I think anyone who's had a vision and has started to create it or gotten far along, well, the first thing they'll say is that took work. And often if you're doing the right thing, there is synchronicity. The universe is stepping up to support you. There are opportunities opening left and right that you wouldn't have expected when you've got your focus and you're taking action. But there's something about that. It's doable. It's so huge. I don't know how it's doable, but I believe it's doable. And what are the first immediate steps I am willing to take to make that happen? So like you were saying, is it ask a question, talk to somebody who has experience, maybe not with exactly what you're doing, but with something close to what you're doing. And I think to me, that's the big distinction, stepping out of the fantasy where either I'm just going to think about it for the rest of my life or wish for it or think it's impossible versus I have a vision. I can actually see it happening for real. And now I need to break down the steps and see how I'm going to get there.
Right. And I think that's the most important part is the steps, is breaking them down to small baby steps, because the overwhelm steps in and then people don't They don't start, and they just keep thinking about it and dreaming about it because of all the steps that they think they have to take, but they can just take one at a time. So
yeah, I would tell people, like anyone who's listening in, if you had a vision and started it and then stopped because it got too overwhelming, or you didn't know what to do next, or you weren't sure what the steps were supposed to be, what would that, has that happened to you?
Right. So let's go to everybody who's on. If you're still on the call right now, we're talking about vision, and we're sharing our personal experiences. We want to know what your visions are. We want you to share this Periscope. So see this little Perry buddy? Go and invite anybody you know who has a vision, who has had a vision, who's made a vision a reality. Please invite them to the scope. We are talking visions, and we are having real conversations, real tips from everybody. So please go ahead and invite everybody along, and we'll continue talking about vision and, providing tips on how to get those visions started.
Yeah, I think one of the best...
Oh, thanks for sharing, Shannon. Awesome.
One of the things that I think is great about this format is this is a space for people to ask questions, because you've worked for 10 years to manifest your vision. I've worked for 14 years to manifest my vision. Take advantage of us. Like, we're here, we can answer questions. We can be the people who have said, you know what, we worked on something like that, this is what we did. So if you've got any questions, just go ahead and type them in so we can answer them. This is not just for us to talk, this is for us to listen and for us to share and answer if we've got anything helpful to say.
Absolutely, yeah. Let me flip it for a second just so people can see me. Hey, everybody, can you see me? Give me some hearts if you can see me. And you can hear me? Shannon, I know those are your hearts. The color. Oh, great. I love all the hearts. Thank you. So my name is Susan Vernicek here, and I am the founder of IdentityMagazine.net, and I'm having a live Skype conversation with Jennifer Zwiebel, and she is the founder of A Place. I love it. Am I saying it right?
I'm laughing because you say it, but you're saying it perfectly, but you're so careful about it. It takes a minute to say my name.
I know, because I want to say it right, but I think it's such a cool name too. So we're talking vision, and right now we want to know, all of you on the line, what are your visions? Share with us your visions. Ask us questions. Did you take a vision and make a reality? Start talking to us. We want to hear. I'm going to flip it back so you guys can see Jennifer as well. But again, please invite all your friends. We're talking vision for the next, 15, 20 minutes, Q&A, conversation style. The whole purpose of this is because I'm approaching my 10th year anniversary, and I am planning, we've already set it up, a cruise at the end of May to Bermuda for an exclusive 10th anniversary cocktail party, the third Identity Live conference for women, and just a big cruise to Bermuda. So, we're talking vision, so invite everybody who you know who has visions, and what are your questions or comments? Please share.
About how visions change, because I know what I started off doing 14 years ago looks very little like what I'm actually doing now, and I'm sure you experienced something like that. So I would love, to hear what you've gone through that's shifted from your initial sitting down and figuring something out with your friend to once you're up and running, things changing, things internally, externally, stuff you have control over, stuff you have zero control over. How does that affect you? What did that look like? And did your vision for Identity Magazine change? Or did that stay the same? You just had to keep figuring out other ways to get there?
Yeah, for me, my vision was the online magazine. And when I started the online magazine, that was when online was really starting to boom. And so when I started, people were like, you need to do hard copy. You need to go do hard copy. But obviously I didn't have the capital for that. And it just worked out in my favor that everything was going digital. So I didn't have to do the hard copy. It was perfect timing. But my vision was always the same. And the online magazine definitely stayed the same. What changed was evolving, growing, becoming smarter, making it more user-friendly. And then the everyday challenges, like, 10 years of challenges and obstacles. It's insane. And I remember the one was losing my partner. She didn't want to do it anymore. And that's a different topic for another month with Crossroads. But, you know, for the most part, my vision stayed the same. It was how to continue to execute it better and continue to learn and grow both personally and professionally with it. So I was lucky where my vision stayed the same. It was just, how do I make it better? How do I become better? How do I make it more user friendly? How do I just evolve and grow and stay with all the changes digitally and online? So that was one of it. And then and also becoming an author and publishing a book. So there are things that add on to your vision as you grow and expand.
Yeah. I think, you know, well, by the way, when you're talking, you should just put the camera on you so we can see you talking.
I know.
So I would say, I think I had almost the opposite experience in a certain way, meaning I sort of unintentionally went into my business. It was really a means of supporting my other vision. My real vision had to do with a much more creative endeavor, much more about creative writing and doing something in that universe. And my job, my work, my business that I created was built in order to support that.
Thanks for the heart, guys.
Was that the vision for me was the other thing around which I created a business. And then the more I got into the business, the less I was focusing on the other projects, and the more invested I got in my business, both for practical reasons, because it was actually turning into a real business, and because now I was getting in touch with a community of women that I had never known existed. It was a whole new access point into a different way of thinking and being in the world, and so much more about spirituality and connection and collaboration, and I loved it. And then my business itself evolved, and so something that was sort of started in order to support something else became a primary focus as well. So then that became a new vision, and it took me a couple of years to get clear on what that business wanted to look like, what I wanted it to look like, what it could look like for me to be excited about it. And even once I became clear, it was hard for me to figure out, can I just change what I've been doing for the last 7 to 10 years, all of us be doing something different? And for me, it's been a really long process of changing the vision. But I find that when I latch onto the thing that most excites me about it, I see what's possible, that's when I'm willing to do the work. And even then, it can get challenging because we're all, busy in a million different ways, doing a million different things. But when you have something that strikes that passion in you, when it lights you up, it doesn't feel as much like work.
Exactly.
It feels like, this is me getting there. So I am going to pull those late nights. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to, not all the time, but, enough of the time that you're doing it for a reason. And I think those of us who are lucky enough to be able to build something like that and live our lives around that, God, what a gift, And I would say, tap if you're doing that with your life.
Yeah, give us some hearts if you're living and working your vision. Oh, yeah. I know Shannon is. This is on the line. Tell us, what are your visions? Put them out there. Set the intention. We want to hear your visions. Shannon, I know you have a lot of visions, so let's hear them. Get them out there. For everybody else who's joining, Susan Vernicek here. Please invite your friends. We are talking vision. We'll wrap up in a little bit, kind of offer 1 to 2 more tips on some steps on just to get your vision started. Start making it a reality, and some Q&As if they're out there. So please give us some hearts if you have some vision, and share any questions that you may have. And we'll go from there.
Why don't we start with, there we go.
Writing a second book. Going to India. Awesome. You'll do it.
I love that. Instigating audacity.
With
Jenny.
Is she on? Did I just miss that?
Yeah, she just posted.
Jenny, what's up?
That's awesome.
That's really cool. It's really cool. Are they coming? I see some comments. It's booked. Hi, Coach Jenny. Awesome. I know you have tons of friends with vision. Feel free to invite them as we kind of wrap up a little here, but they can get the recaps.
So why don't we do some quick tips for people, like they've got the vision and they want to get it forward. They want to go to India. They want to do their second book. They want to instigate audacity. They want to launch a magazine. They want to run a business inspiring women entrepreneurs. Like, let's get some tips. So why don't you go ahead and share one thing that allowed you to take this out of vision mode and put it into reality on our way to creating vision.
Okay, so listen, I am a big dreamer, and everybody says this, if I can do it, you can do it. No, but seriously, if I can do it, you can do it. So, right? No business background, 10 years in business as an entrepreneur. So if I can do it, you can do it. But my biggest thing when you have a vision and you want to make it a reality is start so freaking small. Do not overwhelm yourself. What is what do you think is the first step you need to take for this vision? What's the first step? You just have to take that first step. For me, when I started, I had two thoughts. I can Google and ask a bunch of questions in Google and see what it gives me. Or I can find people who I know who have a business and ask them how they started. So we did both. We did some, research. We took an entrepreneur course at a university, and then my brother has his own business. So I went to him and asked him, and he had given me this entire binder that he went through to make his vision a reality. It was a course, and he gave it to me to go through. So that's how we started. We did research, and then from there, you literally things just come to mind. And you're like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. And whenever you're unsure of what to do or where to go or to ask somebody. And that's the biggest key too, is don't be afraid to ask for help. We don't ever succeed alone. I have 10 years of entrepreneurship. It is because of all of my colleagues, friends, family, husband, all the support. You do not succeed. And yes, make a list and write it down. Exactly. Brain dump. Get it all out of your head onto a piece of paper. So, those are a few of my suggestions to get started on your vision and get them to reality. What about you? I'm going to flip it.
And posted that Jenny wholeheartedly agreed with, which is invest in help, which means, it means different things to different people, but you're talking about getting support, 100% friends, family, colleagues, but very often the smartest thing you can do when you're ready as soon as possible is invest in some help. And that can look like having someone who can help you get things done, a virtual assistant or a personal assistant or someone to build your website. Oh my God, I remember when I tried to build my own website, I spent about 5 minutes on it and I thought, this is insane. Yeah. I have to find the money to do this because I will waste buckets of time doing something I should not be doing. And one of the smartest investments I've ever made is coaches, meaning people who are there, who have been where I want to go, who are creating what I want to create, their version of it, who are the right match. And I've worked with a lot of different people. One of my favorite is Coach Jenny. And really,
she's awesome.
Awesome. Who have really held that space for me to create that vision and helped me pull back with my bright, shiny object syndrome, issues of like getting excited about 50,000 projects at the same time and not finishing any of them. Having someone outside of you who's invested in your success without being an official part of your business. Huge difference that has made in my life.
Actually, I want to touch on that if you don't mind, in investing, because when you are, everybody always thinks that they're not ready to invest. It's just like you're never ready to have kids, but you always seem to find the money. Like I'm able to feed my twins and have clean diapers on them. But you always think, I don't have it. How are we going to do this? How are we going to survive? How am I going to pay for a coach? But the money always appears. It really does. And if it is coming down to investment and you don't have it, then you need to write down, okay, do your research. So say you want to invest in Jennifer or Shannon on the line or, Jenny. Say you want to invest in a coach or a VA. Find out what the cost is. And then you have your goal of what you need to raise to get that money to invest. So, if it's $500, what can I do to make $500 to pay for this? You got to break it down in pieces like that. And you have to start, those are visions that you need to set and pay attention to. Don't just say, I don't have the money take the initiative to find out, okay, what's the investment going to cost and how am I going to get it? Because those are the steps. Because if you don't take those steps, you'll never get there. I mean, perfect example is I was struggling with now being a new mom of twins. You know, I balancing my time, and I need a nanny, but how am I going to afford a nanny a few times a week? It adds up. So I actually worked with a coach who works with moms. Her name is Joy. And she helped me break down and come up with a solution and steps to raise the money or what I need to sell to be able to pay to be able to get a nanny and help me continue my vision. So those are a few additional tips on, you know, if you're stuck at the investment point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also want to put out there one more tip, something that I teach my clients when they have their visions, their projects that they're working on. One of the things that I saw for years and years, both personally and with everyone I worked with, was people have patterns. They have the things that work for them, but they also have the things that sabotage them, that they do to sabotage themselves or that they allow to get in the way of their getting to where they want to go. So one of the tools that I developed, which I'm going to just share briefly with you right now, is a way to move through what's been consistently getting in your way. So what I have people do is not only identify the big project, break it down into steps, and then say, okay, this is the one I'm going to work on right now. I then say, okay, now, before you're even sitting down to work on this, identify what, like 1 to 3, what are the things that come up every time you try to sit down and work on this project or on a similar project that gets in the way. And people will almost always say things like, either I end up on social media and I spend the day on Facebook instead of doing my work, or I check email, or I answer the phone. So those are all distractions. Someone's always coming to knock on my door, whether it's a child or a spouse, or an office mate, or I get overwhelmed, right? There are the external interruptions, and then there are the internal ones. I get overwhelmed, I get afraid, I get distracted because I come across a piece of paper that I should have paid attention to 8 months ago, and then I get terrified of what's going to happen because I haven't done it. So I have them identify these things in advance, and everyone can do it. They all, when they spend a minute thinking about it, they all know what happens for them.
Right.
And then I say, great, now that you've identified that, identify some potential solutions. So before the problem even hits you in real life this time, let's come up with solutions. So for one, she said she gets overwhelmed and afraid. So her solution is going to be, I'm going to turn on a great song and just dance for a few minutes to let it move through me. And we were doing this together, and it actually happened that she was doing really well in her project, and then she got a really upsetting email, and she had a solution right at her hands, and she just turned on the music, did her dance, and got back into work. So there are, practical things like don't turn your computer on if you're working on a project where you can open the computer. But identifying what's gotten in the way in the past, the sabotage, the distractions, internal and external, and then identify solutions. So you've got your vision, you've got your steps, and now you can identify some of what's gotten in the way and how to handle it. So you're walking in prepared. And it's unbelievable what people can accomplish when they do that.
Awesome. That is such good advice. Give us some hearts. What do you think? You agree with her? Where are the hearts? Give us some love. Come on.
So why don't we just take another couple of minutes and we'll talk about your theme of the ship, the cruise, and of your entire magazine mission and vision, which is accept, appreciate, and achieve.
Yes.
And look back at that first year, the year of your vision. Pick one thing that you needed to accept, one thing that you came to appreciate, and one thing that you achieved and can acknowledge right here.
Yes. Okay, for those of you just joining, Susan Vernicek here, having a real conversation via Skype with Jennifer Zwiebel, and she's the founder of aplaceofjoy.com. So we're talking about vision today, and we've shared some steps and tips on how to take your vision to a reality. And now I'm about to share my signature piece, the acceptance, appreciation, and achieving with vision. And so for those of you who are new to who I am in my community, I urge you to visit identitymagazine.net, and you'll learn all about the Identity 5 the A's all there. But right now it's the acceptance, appreciation, and achievement pieces, both personally and professionally in our lives. And I use these as tools for me to get through circumstances, situations, thought processes, and heal throughout my journey, throughout the years. They're guides, they're tools for me. So Jennifer and I, we are kicking off this 10-month conversation piece because I am about to celebrate 10 years of entrepreneurship on a cruise to Bermuda, also tying in my 3rd annual Identity Live workshop conference for women. So the 10 months prior to this cruise, we are going to be talking about a bunch of different themes and having conversations with experts via Periscope and Skype. So right now, I'm going to recap and share the acceptance piece of my first year of entrepreneurship, which was vision, which was all about the vision. First year of being an entrepreneur was all about vision. I think that kind of is for everybody. It's your vision. It's your first year of entrepreneurship. So what was the acceptance piece in that? And that was like, holy shit. Can I say that? I can say that. Holy shit, like this is happening. This is happening. Like this is going to be a lot of work. This isn't a hobby. This isn't, something I need to take lightly. Like I need to accept that if I'm going to be an entrepreneur and start this vision, it's going to take some sacrificing. It's going to take, like, I can't go to happy hour every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday where I used to because I love happy hour and I love cocktails. And so I had to sacrifice. So the acceptance piece with taking this vision that I wanted to start this business and this online community for women was I need to be serious. I need to do the work, and I need to accept the fact that there's going to be sacrifices. So I think that's one piece of that year during the visionary year of accepting that you're going to have to make sacrifices in being an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about appreciation now. The appreciating part was that I was living at home. At first, I hated the fact that I was living at home at that time, but I was able to appreciate it more because I didn't have to pay rent. So I could pay cash for all of the investing that I needed for my business. And so that was huge to learn to appreciate living at home again after traveling and living in London and being back from college. I was not happy about living at home, but then it flipped and I learned to appreciate that fact because I didn't have rent and I was able to invest real cash. So that was the appreciation part of the visionary year. And then achieving was just doing it, taking that first step and making that vision a reality and actually leaping. So those, I think, are my first 3: accept, appreciate, and achieving during that first year of vision was, accepting the sacrifices, appreciating the current situation I was in, living at home, no rent, paying cash for business. Awesome. Give me hearts if that's cool. It didn't create some debt. And then achieving, actually doing it, actually taking the guts and accomplishing my vision and making my vision a reality. It takes a special human being, I think, all of us entrepreneurs, right? Hey, to actually act on our dreams. Hey, how are you guys? I'm going to flip the screen. Oh, we got a hand. So what about you?
This is my except that I work at home.
Yes. Give us some hearts if you work from home.
And this is my appreciate, which is that, you know what, when I walk to drop my daughter off to preschool in the morning,
they are so cute.
I literally, it boils right up inside me and it pours out of my mouth like, thank you for giving me the kind of work where I can do this, where I can get up and take my daughter to school, pick my son up from school, it's such a gift. And it's hard to run your own business, but I am not locked anywhere for 40 stop pressing the button or 50 or 60 hours a week, and stop pressing those buttons too. What? And it's so worth it. And it's just in the hard times I can think, wow, you're making hearts. My son is sending us love.
Awesome.
So it's such a gift. And the achieve, I feel like a lot of women I know who are running businesses
forget what they have achieved, or we're so busy looking at what comes next. We're so busy. I don't know if you can hear me, if I got frozen.
No, I can hear you.
Okay. So we're so busy at like, okay, I did this, now what's next? I did this, now what's next? That no one really takes the time to stop and appreciate what they have already accomplished and to even notice what they've achieved. And every once in a while, I'll remember, like, oh my God, this is not where I was a year ago. Like that thing that I was, you know, that wish that
yes,
I
celebrate achievements.
Is actually a dream from a couple of years ago that just became real. Holy crap. And so it's, okay, so you have to stop doing that now.
Absolutely, Writing Whisperer. We have to celebrate our successes. It's so important. Because we're not doing, we're doing all this work. We're working our butts off. You know, we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate and appreciate all that we've done and all that we've succeeded to feel good and to get us continued juice to continue to go, to move forward.
All right. So I think that's awesome. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So let's we have still a few on the line. If anybody wants to invite one more round, invite your friends to talk vision, we can recap. If not, get your vision out. I want you to share your vision with us, set the intention. This is recorded. We're going to get this on the site. We're going to share it out to those who couldn't join us today. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Coach Jenny. What's your vision? What's your next vision? I know you're in California now, living it up. Had that successful move. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We were just chatting it up, vision, real talk, conversation, sharing personal achievements and goals, and you know, this was our first Periscope along the 10-month journey. So we might even do it again and switch it up a little bit, I think. Right?
Yeah.
That might work. It was good practice with technology. I think I need to get a phone holder so, you know, I don't have to keep moving my hand. But we want to thank you all so much for joining and discussing visions with us. And if you have any questions, let us know. Blab. What is that? What's Blab IM? Congrats. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Coach Jenny. Thanks for joining us. Shannon, I can't believe you joined us from London. I hope you're having a great time. You got to check out the Slug and Lettuce in Fulham, Broadway. That's where I used to bartend. But Skype meets. Oh, we'll have to check that out. Awesome. Here's your call to action. Visit identitylive.net. Book your tickets to come to the conference and the cruise and the exclusive cocktail party. And visit aplaceofjoy.com and connect with us online. My handle is IdentityMag across the board. Twitter. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing the URL. Woohoo!
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This was awesome.
Thank you for chatting with me today. And we'll be in touch.